Greetings everybody, Chris Campbell here in the clock shop tonight. Up on the workbench is a very heavy marble case clock with a bronze statue on top, very beautiful. This was shipped in to us from a customer. She got it off of Marketplace, I believe. This is what you would call a French statue clock, but me and my colleague have now saw a couple of things that is not right, but it's still not bad. It's still a great bargain for what she got. First and foremost, this is a inside movement and there's no keyholes on the front. So that means that it's going to be a balanced staff. There cannot be a pendulum, because if it was a pendulum, you would have the winding arbors on the front. So I can tell you right now, this is going to be a balanced staff. That's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing. It's not a true French movement. This is a true French casing, though. This is the period, the era. This is the same make and model, but somebody has modernized it. I guess they either had a broke movement and replaced it, or so forth. But the statue is bronze. It's not a brass. It is actually a true bronze. You have the motif. This is all original patina. We've actually checked and aged with our carbon tester. It weighs about 40 pounds, and it is a very heavy clock. All right. So we will unscrew the back. There we go. And let's see, I should have a tool. There we go. And just like I suspected, yes. So this is a balance staff movement. It is a 30-hour movement, judging by the mainspring. We're going to go ahead and wind it. It's not wound, just to see if it'll start. And it doesn't start. So it's probably gummed up, and I can actually see a lot of dried oil on the pivots, a lot of gum. Yeah. Oh man, this one's really gummed up. As a matter of fact, we got a lot of the gunk here. Whoop, just dropped it. Yeah, it's all gummed up. Good news, bad news. Good news, this is a original French clock case with the statue. Bad news is they have actually replaced the movement with a modern day movement. And the reason I can tell that is you can see the outline of where the original movement was, all the way around. You can also see where they had the original screws for the original movement. And they have put a bolt and screw in through the marble to hold this movement in place. That would not be there. Secondly, you can actually see where they silver soldered the dial in place. That's another indication this is not the original dial, because a real dial for the French would have the two arbors, or one arbor since it's a time only. And a real French movement is going to have a tiny little pendulum that moves back and forth, not the balance staff as this has, which is basically like a pocket watch. Actually, the movement is a Korean movement. Trying to read the top piece up here. Let's see, let me get my third eye. Korean 30-hour is all it says at the very top. Non-adjusted. So it's somebody has put in a Korean 30-hour movement. But everything else, the case, everything is the right period. It is a true French clock case. The movement is the only thing that is not the right period or right style for this particular case clock. But other way, any other way, it still runs. It still works. Will that affect the value? Yes, it will affect the value because it's not a true French clock with the original movement. But if I were to buy this clock for my personal collection, it's going to be worth about $350, $400 tops in working condition. Right now, I don't know what's wrong with the movement. We're going to take that apart and service it and clean it up. To do that, we charge $95 to do these particular movements. So if you need anything like that, this is what we do. But yeah, it's a beautiful clock, very heavy, very, very nice. I'm going to also clean up the marble some because it is very dirty and dusty. It's got a lot of gunk. I'm not going to polish the bronze because that can remove a lot of the value in the patina. But I am going to clean it up. As you can see, it is filthy with dust, cobwebs, and dirt. But we'll turn it back around. It is a very heavy clock, beautiful clock. I'm going to say this dial is actually porcelain. If that is the case, the dial could be valuable. It is. Okay. Wow. So that's another plus. It's not a plastic or a wooden dial. This is actually a porcelain dial. So the porcelain dials were around the 20s, the 40s, and the 50s for this particular clock. And the hands are also antique. You can see the patina in the finish of the carvings. So really, truly, the only thing that's out of the ordinary is the movement. They've replaced the original dial with a porcelain dial, which is good. So yeah, that actually ups the value. As a matter of fact, I've seen a similar clock like this on eBay that I was going to bid on. Somebody said that it was a Chinese-made or a Japanese-made clock. And it still sold for like $388, and I think it was $150 shipping due to the weight and boxing and packaging. So yeah, this is still a beautiful clock. And we also have a beveled glass on the front. Original bronze dial or bezel that's been knurled. And this one is a beautiful piece. So we're going to service it, clean it up, and get it ready for our customer. But other than that, that's the only thing that I really see that's out of the ordinary is the movement. So, yeah. Alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and start taking this apart and getting it ready for our customer. As always, check us out on Facebook and our YouTube channel at Chris Campbell or Campbell's Antique Clock and Watch Repair. Have a wonderful evening.